Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, September 13th, 2021. The fire potential impacts for the next couple of days are shown here. For today, we have some wind across the southern Great Basin, some lingering isolated thunderstorms over northeast Utah, and smoke in place still over portions of northern Nevada and southern Idaho. Tomorrow should be a pretty quiet day, and on Wednesday, we'll begin to see some winds pick up ahead of a trough moving into the Pacific Northwest. Temperatures this week will be mild to just above normal for the time of year. For the smoke this afternoon, again, we'll see smoke in place over northern Nevada and into parts of southern Idaho today. And tomorrow, those areas expand just a bit, or smoke pushes out of Idaho and into northern and central Utah. Precip and lightning for the past 24 hours is shown here. There was a little band of some pretty heavy thunderstorms that moved through southeast Idaho and northern Utah. Those were all accompanied by precipitation. Great Basin fire activity is shown here with some initial attack popping up over the kind of higher elevations here of Utah, and then a few fires in Nevada as well. Initial attack over Idaho has been fairly quiet. Observed precip for the past 14 days is shown here with the inches on the left and percent of normal on the right. Again, still showing that wet signal from a little over a week ago over southern and southeast Utah. But still fairly dry across many other areas. We did have some precip move through last week, and that brought some higher amounts to northwest Nevada and northeast Nevada and southeast Idaho and western Wyoming. So a few little pockets out there, but still dry over the central Idaho mountains and much of Nevada. ERCs have been on the downward trend for the last few days with the cooler air moving in. Many stations are below the 50th percentile in Utah and up into western Wyoming, with higher values over Nevada and Idaho. The highest values over the central Idaho mountains right now, as they didn't receive any precipitation last week there. ERCs, taking a closer look here at a couple of areas in central Utah and southern Nevada. Those values were on the upward swing until we got this little cool front and some precip that moved through. In Utah, those values are back to normal for the time of year. In far southern Nevada, no precip was observed down there, and so those values are actually above normal for the time of year, but still below the historical records. This morning's satellite imagery is showing generally dry westerly flow in place across the geographic area. That little front of thunderstorm activity over northern Utah and southern Idaho is moving off to the east. So generally drier conditions today. We will see just some lingering storms there in northeast Utah later, but generally dry and warm across the area. So for this afternoon, don't have any high-risk triggers issued. Generally dry and just some lingering moisture over northeast Utah. A closer look at that, the winds will pick up a little bit this afternoon over southern Nevada and southern Utah, but below criteria for a red flag warning or high risk. And then some lingering thunderstorms over northeast Utah today. For tomorrow, that dry westerly pattern continues. No high risk triggers, no issues, just a nice early fall day. Again, no significant winds on Tuesday. Max temperatures in the 70s over Idaho and in the mid to low 80s over northern Nevada and northern Utah. On Wednesday, continuation of the dry pattern over the Great Basin, but we will see winds start to pick up ahead of a trough developing over the Pacific Northwest and northern Rockies. But otherwise, generally seasonal temperatures and continued dry conditions. So the winds will pick up over the mountains of east central Idaho and western Wyoming and along the Sierra Front on Wednesday. Minimum relative humidities are also low during this time. The 3-day precipitation totals show basically no precip over the Great Basin, just some isolated or some lower amounts here in the small area of northeast Utah today. On Thursday, continued warm and dry conditions across the Great Basin. With no high risk in place, we'll start to see some moisture move into the Pacific Northwest with that trough beginning to move into the area there, but generally dry still over the basin. And on Friday, the trough makes a move inland. This will increase winds over Idaho and possibly portions of far western Nevada as well. Still dry in these areas ahead of that front. On Saturday, the front comes through, bringing precipitation to Idaho, northern Nevada, and will make its way into northern Utah eventually. But winds out ahead of that front expected for northern Nevada and northwest Utah on Saturday. And then the trough swings across Idaho on Sunday, bringing a continuation of showers across the north, northern Nevada, northern Utah as well. So really decreasing fire danger across the northern half of the geographic area by this weekend. Still dry and warmer conditions across the south. And the precip accumulations for the next 7 days are shown here. The biggest change, of course, is the precip coming to Idaho next weekend. And then we'll see a little bit more precip into the early parts of next week down in northern Nevada and northern Utah. The extended forecast for the 20th through the 22nd is calling for below normal temperatures continuing over Idaho and northern Nevada, with a generally dry signal across the basin, especially across the south. And this concludes today's fire potential briefing. Please check back tomorrow for the latest updates.